Welcome to Tutorplace. This is the place you can come to find instruction over any math topic. Today we're going to be talking about congruent triangles. So, what makes it a congruent triangle? Well, two triangles that are congruent means that they have the same size and shape. The corresponding angles and corresponding sides are congruent. Now, what does congruent mean? Congruent just is simply another fancier way to say that they are equal. They have the same exact measurement. So for the word congruent, I want you to first of all understand what the symbol is to be congruent. It looks like an equal sign, but on top of it, it has this little curlicue line over it. That symbol means congruent. So you usually write the little congruent sign, wavy sign, and then an equal sign under it. Okay? Now, in order for these to be congruent, that means that their corresponding angles and sides are equal to one another. Corresponding means that they match up in the same position. So let's look at another example. If these two triangles are congruent, then what's going to happen is all of the angles, one angle will be paired up with another angle in the other triangle. So if we're looking at this first triangle, the angles that would match up would be angle B would be congruent to angle F. And I have them marked up here in the same color so that you can see. Now, not only do I have them in the same color, but you'll notice that B has one line on it and F has one line marking on it. That helps you to be able to see which angles are matched up with one another, because sometimes the triangles will be turned upside down or sideways and it won't be obvious. You can't always go just by the way that they look. So you have to go by the way they are marked in your book. So the next angle would be angle A, and that would be congruent to angle E. And I know that not only because they're both marked in yellow, but primarily because they both have the two curved marks on them. For angles, we mark them with curves, and then for the sides, we mark them with straight lines. So the third angles that would be congruent would be angle C, would be congruent to angle D. So we've listed out the sides that are the angles that are congruent to one another. Excuse me, the angles. Now let's do the sides. When we deal with the sides, again, you're going to be primarily looking at the ones that have the same number of markings on them. So let's see, let me get my colors here to match up. If we use, let's say we look at side AC, and you put a line over it. That means segment AC, the side that's from A up to C, and you'll see I have the two blue lines. That's going to match up with the two blue lines on this triangle, which would be side DE. The next set that we have would be, let's say, if we did side AB, it's kind of hard for you to see. I hope you can see that color okay. That would be marked up with side EF. And then the third side that we have would be the ones that are left, which would be side BC would be congruent to side DF. And when you're doing this might be in geometry or any of your other math classes, whenever you have something with shapes, you're going to have a lot of markings on them if you're doing it correctly. That will help you a lot if you will label them. Now, how do we actually write out that the two triangles are congruent? Well, you simply say, and I'm going to try to squeeze it in right here in the middle. Let me go back to just the black. We say triangle A, B, C. I'm just going to put them in alphabetical order at the beginning. Okay, is congruent to, and you put the triangle symbol. That just means that it's a triangle. Now, since I listed A first on this side, I must list the angle that matches up with A first on this side. So A was with the one with two marks, which would mean E would be over here, would go next. B was the one that had one mark. So in this particular triangle to the right, The one that has one marking is F, and then we would have D as the last one. So this is how you would actually label the two triangles being congruent to one another. ABC congruent to EFD. Let's go ahead and look at another one and see if we can't label which triangles are congruent to which triangles. And this one, they kind of overlap in the middle. I wanted to make it a little bit harder for you. So let's, first of all, let's name our triangles. Let's go triangle A, B, C. I always just put up the first one. It doesn't really matter which order you put it in. I'm going to make that a little bit neater for us. Let's go back and make that triangle A, B, C. If that is congruent to triangle, now which one does A match up with? What do you think? Which angle does A match up with? You're right, if you said E, because A had 2 marks on it, and so does E. B was next with 3 markings, so then I'm going to put D next because it has 3 markings. And then C I had listed last. It had 1 mark, so it has 1 mark on this side. Point C is in both triangles. From here, you should be able to list out the angles and in which order they're in. You can notice that angle A is congruent to angle E. Angle B is congruent to angle D. And angle C is congruent to angle C. The sides, again, we have them marked with the 1 slash mark here between A and B. So side AB is going to be congruent to side DE because it has 1 mark on it. Side BC has 2 slash marks, would be congruent to side CD because it has 2 slash marks. And the third one would be side AC congruent to side CE. It has 3 slash marks. It's not hard. You just need to pay close attention to your triangles and pay close attention to what the markings are on each of the triangles. And all the information will be right there before you. I hope that information has helped you today. If you would like more information about other math classes, units, and lessons that I have available, or if you would like some tutoring help, just send an email to stemtutorplace@gmail.com. That's stemtutorplace@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you, and don't forget to subscribe to Tutorplace. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.